This is One-on-One. Welcome to the Voice Summit. I'm Steve Adubato. This is it's a three-day event. Three-day event, right? Mm-hmm. It's big. It's at NJIT in Newark, New Jersey. Biggest voice summit in the world. We're pleased to be joined by Noelle LaCharite, who is Principal PM Manager and Applied AI, I believe that stands for Artificial Intelligence Engineer, at Microsoft. What do you guys do at Microsoft?
Something about windows and mice and buttons, something like that.
Okay, come on, break this title down for us.
Yeah, so Principal PM means I basically manage product. And so the products I manage are enterprise voice inside of things like Teams, Outlook, Word, right? How do we make that more frictionless? And then the second half is what I do for fun.
Applied Artificial Intelligence Engineer?
Right.
Come on.
It's what I do every day. So
okay, what is the thing?
I build applications with applied AI models, which are models that are really available to any developer on the planet.
Okay, here's what I do now. For example.
So for example, I was actually just talking about this with someone today. What if I had this great idea to create an application that could, like I have a son, he has Down syndrome, he has slurred speech, so he can't easily talk to something like Alexa or Cortana or Google. So what if I could build a model that could learn his speech as a dev? I could just build an app that understands his speech.
A dev and a developer.
Yeah, and then translate it so that Alexa or Google could understand what he's saying.
Doable?
Doable. And you don't even have to be like a data scientist or machine learning person. You don't need any of that.
What do you have to have?
You have to be a developer, which means you could start, literally you could go take a JavaScript course today, and by tonight you could be building machine learning models all by yourself.
Given how expansive the universe of those who could participate, including someone like me, who, let's just say, struggles with certain technological issues.
Right.
What does that mean? I know it's a big picture question. What does it mean for the future of voice technology if virtually everyone can play in the game?
Yes, well, I mean, that's my hope. I think it's also Microsoft's hope. We call it the democratization, right? What a word. Or commoditization, right? In the terms
Is there a difference?
Not really.
Really?
Not from the perspective of a dev.
Okay.
Yeah, probably from the perspective of a person wanting to make money off of my work.
Okay, I got it.
Right?
We can be small d democratic, but also be capitalist at the same time?
Apparently.
Okay, so you're saying as the field gets broader and broader and more people are participating, there's an issue that you brought up with our producers that I want to bring up with you.
Yes.
I told you before we got on the air, I'm a student of leadership. I teach it, I write it, I think about it. I'm not that good at it at times. You use an expression called mindful leadership. What the heck does that mean? Because I need to incorporate it in one of my seminars.
Yes,
What
absolutely.
is it? I'm not joking.
I have had the pleasure of working for some of the greatest CEOs and leadership teams at IBM, Red Hat, Amazon, Microsoft. And the leaders I would classify as good share some certain qualities. And I've termed them mindful leadership, but things like people over product, like never putting the product before your team. Like those products come and go. I've watched the Fire Phone disaster. I watched Windows Phone go away. And all those people ended up moving into products that became extremely successful for the company. And if you didn't put them first, if you treated them like failures, like the product is, you would have lost those people.
People over product.
People over product.
If someone goes the other way, product over people, the outcome?
You lose those people. And your competitor picks them up and they deliver a product that you thought you'd build.
Stay on mindful leadership. A second quality is?
So the second quality is basically how important it is to have velocity, not be basically a primary effort. So the way I term it is clarity over velocity. That you're always driving to get a clear understanding of what you're trying to do over doing it fast. So to give you an example, one of our executive leaders at Microsoft literally told a team, if the model isn't doing what we want or isn't right, it doesn't matter that you're supposed to release it next week or next month or next year.
What do you do? Call a timeout and say we need?
Totally do.
Come on, seriously.
Yeah, and you lose money for the company.
Okay.
Yes.
See,
it's a mindful leadership tactic. Not everyone can play.
This conversation is going to go in a different direction than our producers think right now because, as I said, we also have a podcast all about leadership, and this is going to be on it as well. Because I will tell you, what you just described, in my mind, is about being a truly strategic leader that says, I often argue, and I won't get on a soapbox, the difference between impact versus activity. right?
That's right, yeah.
Let's have a lot of activity. Let's have
Yes.
deadlines. Let's do a lot of stuff. I'm
Velocity,
sorry.
yes.
What impact did you have? I'm sorry. What?
Right.
You seem to be saying if the game plan to do this thing, whatever it is not going to have the desired impact and is not strategic, you call a timeout and say, listen, we're not doing this.
That's right.
But we got a deadline.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Well, here's the interesting thing. AI, now that it's part of the mainstream, part of product teams, AI forces this, right? Because AI models start bad. There is no good AI model out of the box. They start wrong before they get right. You train them.
Artificial intelligence models, by virtue of them, start wrong?
Yes, because you're basically training it on data, and then you're asking it to make a prediction, and you never train it with enough data because you don't know what you're doing.
So you're revising as you get input.
We call it an
feedback.
experiment. It's been called an experiment for decades, right? This is not a new thing, but now we're putting it in companies as their main product, and they're like, no, March, we got to get this puppy out the door, and everyone's like, who came from the AI side is like, this could fail tomorrow. The model could implode, and then we learn from that failure.
So what points do you get for putting a product out into the marketplace that really isn't well thought out, is not going to have a desired impact, and you know are serious problems? You think you get points for just making a deadline?
Right. But I think there is a methodology, a mindset from maybe 20 years ago that absolutely thinks that that's the scorecard.
Productivity cannot be confused with impact and mindful leadership.
That's right.
I love that. Why are you fascinated by leadership?
Probably because as a woman in tech, and specifically a minority, I've not had great peers or even role models or direct leaders that I could look at and go, I want to emulate that behavior. So I started looking past my direct line and identifying like, who are the senior leaders? Who are the corporate vice presidents, executive vice presidents, CEOs? What are they doing? And why is there such a big gap with what they're saying and my life? As like, I'm still a director, I'm still relatively senior in my field, but I do not get that same mindful, connection. I don't get empathetic. Nobody comes to me and says, oh yeah, don't worry about that deadline. If it's not the right thing to do, don't do it. I'm the one holding that bar.
But Noelle, let me follow up on this.
Sure.
I interview people all the time, and it's clear to me when someone is a really good communicator. And I'm not saying this simply because you're sitting across from me. You're a really good communicator, interpersonally strong. You're a good listener. You engage people. You have concrete examples. I can see. You from New Jersey?
No, New York City.
Yeah, I know. I was just setting you up for that. Okay, listen, we're not
I
always
love Jersey, though.
Hey, listen, we're not always second fiddle because we got the Voice Summit.
That's
but leave
right.
that alone for now. Here's my point. There are folks who think that the Voice Summit and this whole world of artificial intelligence is dominated by people who necessarily do not have great interpersonal skills, do not engage people. They are just people who are so smart, scored way higher than us on their math SAT or ACT or whatever it is, and they're a different breed. You seem, there's a question here, you seem to have it all.
Yeah, I've heard the term like unicorn used before, but I don't believe it. I actually believe that, especially now with AI, we are encouraging people to be storytellers, to be creative.
Storytellers?
Yes.
And artificial intelligence that some people think they're going to take over our thinking?
Yes, but they're actually not. And as a matter of fact, some of the best and most impactful technology that uses AI, like Alexa, has actually brought people together, has helped people like my dad feel more part of the world instead of excluded from it. So there's very unique use cases that you have to think about that's well beyond just like, oh, is this person, is this technology going to take away a part of my job I didn't really like anyway? Right? It's actually bringing the world together in a much more real way, I think.
You love this work.
I do.
You do great work.
Yeah, I love it.
And you're really good. You made my job very easy. You really broke this down. And you're called an evangelist.
I am, I think, self-described as an evangelist. And my friends would probably call me evangelist.
And you're a
There is
teacher.
no such role in my company.
You're a teacher.
I'm a teacher for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Noelle. Well done.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by NJIT, RWJ Barnabas Health, the Northward Center, PSC&G, the law firm of Gibbons PC, New Jersey Resources, and by TD Bank. Promotional support provided by New Jersey Globe and by New Jersey Monthly, Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.